Hi there, Chris from TotallyEV, and here I'm doing a dedicated audio review of the Ford Capri. If you want a detailed review of the vehicle itself, make sure you check it up on your pop-up banner or by following the links down the description below or the pinned comments. Down there you'll find also some of the best deals, and that can also be achieved by scanning the QR code that can be found on your screen. Now to kick things off, we have to talk about audio configuration. And at the time of filming and in the UK, in the Sense and Style trims, you've got a 7-speaker setup. To be more specific, you've got woofers that are found within each of the 4 doors, tweeters that are found within the dashboard, and also a center audio channel, and that is found within the soundbar unit. If, however, you want a superior audio experience, you might want to go for the Bang Olufsen system that's found in the premium trim only. This adds tweeters within the rear doors and also a subwoofer within the boot, which takes roughly 5 litres of capacity, and that's why you might see slightly different claims in terms of the overall boot capacity of the Ford Capri. Now, this is the audio system that is on review, and for you to tinker around with it, you'll want to navigate via the infotainment system. Now here you have got the focus, where you've got the balance and fader, the sound focus, or the surround mode. I actually went for surround mode and added 1 notch in terms of where the stereo position would be. As for the sound preset, I found this actually quite intriguing, because first off you have got the different presets: natural, relaxed, vocal and energetic, and I went for the latter. And then you've also got the multi-band EQ, where I added quite a few notches to subwoofer, 1 notch to the 100Hz band, 1 notch to the 350Hz band, left the 1 kHz untouched, added 1 notch to 3.5 kHz and 2 notches to 10 kHz. This gave me the best sort of audio reproduction, at least for my ears and also my music genre that I listen to. And that's of course subjective, but feel free to follow it and play around with it for your own heart's content, at least if you do have the Ford Capri. Now for you to connect up to the infotainment system, you have got Bluetooth, with the SBC and AAC codec supported only. And therefore, if you do want to get lower transmission loss, then you'll want to go for Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which are supported over both a wired and wireless transmission, the former being the better out of the two. Now, in terms of the overall cabin noise, here the objective measurements will be on your screen. And what I'll say subjectively, and something that wasn't quite picked up by my objective measurement tool, is that there's a little bit of low-end reverberation that can be heard when traversing on uneven terrain, or for example going on certain motorway drives. It's not too bad in the grand scheme of things, but I expected a little better cabin insulation. This could be in part due to the fact that this press vehicle was fitted with the largest 21-inch alloys, and therefore if it were to have smaller alloys or indeed have a different trim altogether, then I suspect I would have got a little bit better cabin noise, be it objectively or subjectively. Now with all that out of the way, let's get on to an audio demo. I'll be placing the camera and microphone in 4 separate locations and playing back a track. It's from Priya J and it's titled Like Me. So I appreciate an audio demo over YouTube is not going to give you a lifelike reproduction, but I thought I'd provide it as it gives you a bit of a taster as to what to expect. In terms of my own subjective opinion, as someone who's reviewed over 130 in-car audio systems and over 800 audio-related devices, I'll say that the 10-speaker Bang Olufsen system does well across the sound frequency range, albeit not exactly being perfect. Now let me explain. First off, in terms of the sub-bass tones, they extend relatively low, although they do feel a little bit cut short, and therefore won't compete with some of the more beefier or indeed aftermarket solutions that you can find. Here, the subwoofer that's positioned in the boot does give you a little bit extra low-end extension, and therefore will be appreciated over the stock 7-speaker setup. As for the overall mid-bass, it's certainly very hearty, although due to the construction of the doors, if you are going to be playing it really loud and, for example, ramping up the bass EQ via the infotainment system, you'll find that it has a little bit of a rattle. Not something that I overly experienced, but just something I thought I should share. As for the overall mid-range, it does feel a little bit recessed and pushed back. Yes, indeed, over here it's not exactly its forte, and therefore means that both male and female vocals don't really come up to the foreground. Now you might be quick to say, why didn't you EQ this via the infotainment system or at least add more notches to it? And the simple answer is because by doing so it took away from the overall accuracy and gave me a veiled sort of reproduction. And as a result I just had to accept of a bit of a V-shaped sound signature. Not too bad, but indeed something that it can't quite compete with some of the alternatives out there. Namely, for example, the Tesla Model Y, which really springs to mind. As for the highs, they actually extend really well. They don't sound sibilant or harsh, at least not in my opinion, both at the front and rear of the cabin, where you've got those dedicated tweeters, at least in the Bang Olufsen system. As for the overall soundstage reproduction, it's decent. Here the instrument separation is done well, namely at the front of the cabin where you've got a multitude of audio drivers, although it would have been appreciated if you had dedicated woofer and mid-range drivers within each of the 4 doors. And as for your overall width and depth, it's actually done pretty well, where you've got a good sort of engagement with the music that you're listening to. Here, if you add 1 notch in terms of a surround mode EQ, you get a little bit of extra fulfillment, although you probably won't want to go crazy in terms of this EQ because it adds that sort of fishbowl effect. I would have actually appreciated if Ford or Bang Olufsen had added additional audio drivers within the C-pillars. It would have added to the overall surround sound effect and given you a little bit extra sort of dynamism. Effectively, what I'm trying to convey over here is that the upgraded 10-speaker Bang & Olufsen system will do a better job in comparison to the stock 7-speaker setup that can be found in the Style and Sense models, namely in terms of the high and low frequency ranges. And as a result of this, it just about gets our Performance Audio Award. I say that because there are some other audio systems, be it from Bang & Olufsen or other, that give you even more audio drivers within the cabin and ones that will actually do a little bit better job across the sound frequency range and give you a little bit of extra engagement. Some of which I've reviewed will be down in the description below for your own consideration. Now I'd be curious to know what you make of the audio system that can be found within the Ford Capri and how you feel it compares to some of the other all-electric SUVs in its segment. Now, if you've enjoyed this detailed independent review, definitely do consider dropping a like, subscribing and hitting that bell notification, all of which would be greatly appreciated. As such, I've been Chris from TotallyEV and hopefully see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves and goodbye.